afternoon. I thought I'd take the chance to talk to you about friendship because it seems to me to be a subject that is in the air and often attached to quite a lot of anxiety at the moment. We're in a way not quite sure what friendship is. You see it every time you pick up a newspaper or magazine and there's another discussion about social networking sites or, as has been said, anti-social networking sites. But more generally too, there's a sense in which perhaps we live very mobile lives these days, and we hope that somehow friendship will be elastic enough to stretch across the way that our working lives, say, take us to the other side of the planet, or our love lives, our family lives seem to be disintegrating. Somehow we hope that friendship will provide the kind of glue and the stability, the sense of belonging and being loved that perhaps other forms of commitment and relationship seem to be suffering from. But I wonder whether that's the case. I wonder really whether friendship's up to it, in fact. Do we know what we're thinking about? Friendship's often idealised, but do we know about its rules and its perils? And interestingly, there's a whole kind of Christian story in this subject of friendship, because our attitudes towards friendship, I think, are shaped by quite a profound tension in the Christian tradition about what friendship might be and how it should be valued and validated. In one corner, in the blue corner, if you like, is the figure of St. Augustine, one of two huge theological big hitters in the history of the Christian West, anyway. And he developed a suspicion of friendship. Basically, what happened to him, if you read his Confessions, you can read this story. It's a very moving story. In his teens, before he became a Christian, he had a very profound friendship with another young man. He talks about them being one soul in two bodies, a very profound sense of connection, soulmateship, we would say. But then this chap died, and he died in very tragic circumstances. And moreover, at the point of his death, he and Augustine had fallen out. And so Augustine was left with this moment in time frozen when he had fallen out with his friend. And he came to conclude that friendship was too fragile, too thin, a relationship upon which to put too much hope and expectation. And he said, what a fool I was to love another man as if they were a god. And this kind of casts a shadow over the rest of his writing. And in particular, he says, look, friendship's okay, but it's agape, the completely dependable, undifferentiated love of God that really counts. And that's what we should rely on. And this has a strange sort of secular transformation, because it reflects in a way the belief which we have in a democratic society, that everyone too should be treated equally and undifferentiatedly, and it's one person, one vote. Everybody should be treated equally according to human rights, or human rights are nothing at all. And when we do sense that people have been treated in particular ways, preferentially, we call it nasty words like nepotism and solipsism. Friendship in public life is really a big taboo in the modern world. So we have this ambiguity coming from Augustine. Now did I say the blue corner? In the red corner, we've got another huge figure in the history of the Christian West and has purchase on the secular world too, I think, is Thomas Aquinas. And for him, the story was really rather different. He recognized that we human beings are limited human beings, we're frail human beings, and we aspire always to that which lies beyond us, that which more than we're capable of, really. And this is nowhere comes to, first of all, to other people, and two. Friendship for him was a kind of school of love. It was by being and showing particular love to one other person that we can learn what it's really like to be connected to another person. And then ripples of affection, as it were, and compassion can grow out from that and ideally embrace other people, the rest of the world, and can teach us too about love of God. And so in the secular world, that would be the idea that you couldn't really have a society unless there was at least some kind of sense of goodwill and sharing, some sort of friendship that the citizens shared. And you might say that one of our problems these days is that we live in a world that doesn't aspire to have friendship amongst citizens. It aspires to just kind of manage the strangers that we are to one another. And so we have these constant worries about immigration and constant fears that society might be breaking down. So I think Augustine's got something to teach us about friendship, which is a bit of a counterpoint to the broad secular discourse, which I would say comes from Augustine. Interestingly, in this year when the Pope will be coming to the UK and will be there to beatify John Henry Newman, Newman was a great advocate of this Thomas Aquinas take on friendship. He too, he preached a very famous sermon in Oxford, and in the sermon he said, don't believe the person that says they love the whole world and yet is terrible in their personal relationships. That kind of person is the dictator who would have the whole world love him, but is useless when it comes to one-to-one encounters. He too thought that we can only really learn what it is to love God and also what it is to be a human society if we value friendship, if we use friendship as this opportunity, a school of love, a school of life, if you like, in order that we can nurture that which is best in us and then hope that ripples out across society. So thank you.